breaking out as we look up to the north, and that's where we'll find the most potent cells. There'll be some heavy downpours, and there could be some isolated flash flooding, especially on those north and east facing slopes where the cells just kind of meander. A couple cells down on the south side, even to the south and to the east of 85, but generally we're looking at most of the energy focusing on the mountains of northeast and north central Georgia as we get into the second half of this Tuesday. In terms of tomorrow, we'll lower the rain chance to 30%, and we'll keep the rain chance low for Thursday, and temperatures will be allowed to go back into the lower 90s for sure. And then we'll trade those 90s for 80s, mid to upper 80s as rain takes center stage as the weekend begins.
Good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us here for the 3 p.m. streaming hour. I'm Tom Haines, where the news continues here on Fox Local. Want to take you live to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport right now, where the FAA is reporting a temporary ground stop at the airport for all departures. And you can see why on the horizon there. The cloud cover and the storms in the area are prompting authorities there to issue this departure ground stop, which means no flights are leaving Hartsfield-Jackson. We've seen a couple over the past few minutes. I've been watching these live pictures here from before we went on with you here in the 3 p.m. hour of the activity there at the airport. We've seen a couple of flights get out. Not many get in, and if you look right now, all is quiet there on the tarmac at Hartsfield-Jackson, indicating that operations might be at a standstill. You know, whenever there's lightning or storms in the area, operations cease there, and that looks to be the case right now as storms move into the metro Atlanta area. Maybe you're experiencing that right now as we see a flight land there on the runway. But this will no doubt affect flight operations and will create a ricochet effect across the nation here at the world's busiest airport as this ground stop is in effect until we understand at least 3:15 this afternoon. Meteorologist Jonathan Stacy is watching Fox 5 Live Viper radar and will join us here on Fox Local in just a couple of minutes to tell us how long these storms are going to last and how it might affect operations at Hartsfield-Jackson International. So we'll stay on top of that situation for you as it continues to evolve, and our weather here in the metro Atlanta area and our viewing area. Now on to a story that broke here in the 11 o'clock hour if you were streaming with us here on Fox Local. A massive fire has engulfed an apartment building in Gwinnett County and injured a firefighter. Kim Leffler is live for us on the scene there. Kim, tell us about this blaze, how many residents it may have displaced, and the condition, if you know it, of that firefighter who was injured this morning.
Yeah, Tom, we're still waiting to learn exactly how many people were affected by this fire, as well as the condition of the firefighter, as well as another resident that we're told was injured in this fire. But we're told both of their injuries are minor. Now, we've seen several fire crews head out of the Oxford apartments here all throughout the afternoon, but there's certainly a lot of damage left behind. In fact, take a look of some video of this fire from the ground and in the air. Now, we know 10 units got damaged in this blaze. Gwinnett County Fire responded here here just before 9 and got the fire under control in a little over 30 minutes. Fire crews say the fire was on the second story of one of the buildings. They say while fighting the fire, the roof collapsed, so they had to pull the firefighters out for safety and use ladder trucks to extinguish the flames. Now, again, one firefighter did get injured while working to get the fire under control, and a resident as well. Right now, we're still waiting to hear how many people have been displaced, but fire officials say there were people inside at the time of the fire, and that they did have to evacuate some people. Now take a listen rather to more from a woman who lives right near the building who saw all of the smoke there this morning.
It was a very scary situation. I'm glad that my son was in the school and everybody's son is in the school. So that was the good part, that we all adults, we knew how to handle the situation. So it was terrible.
Were the smoke alarms going off? Were you hearing smoke
No,
alarms going off?
no, I don't hear any alarm, no. It was a family. They called us and says, there's a fire in your complex, so we go outside and see everything.
Are you able to get inside your house, or is the smoke, has the smoke damaged anything in your
No, only the smoke. We smell the smoke inside in our house, so, but no damage, no, we are good, thank God, yes.
Does anyone have any idea how it started? Has anyone said anything?
I heard something, but I can't sure say there is the exact thing. So I heard some lady in the kitchen, but I can't assure anything.
Now, fire officials have not yet confirmed exactly how this fire started. That woman also told us there may have been some pets that did not make it out of the fire. We're working to confirm that with fire officials as well. But again, we do know that firefighter and the resident injured in this fire just had minor injuries, and they're expected to be okay. Tom.
Kim, you might have mentioned it earlier. The Red Cross, they're usually out there helping fire victims get resettled. And I imagine we're talking about quite a number of residents who might have been displaced there.
Yeah, we have seen Red Cross trucks on scene here. The apartment complexes have asked us to stay off property. That's why we are back a bit from the scene of the fire. But I did see some Red Cross trucks head to the site of that fire here in the last couple of hours. And firefighters telling you that this fire is completely out now, under control, no more threat of it spreading to other structures? Yes, we're told that firefighters got here a little before 9 o'clock, and they got the fire under control at right around 9:32 or so. All right, Kim Leffler in Gwinnett County telling us about a fire at an apartment complex displacing several residents, minor injuries to a firefighter and one resident there. Kim, continue to stay on top of this situation, and we'll look for more updates from you as they warrant and as the news continues here. Kim, thanks. We're also in Carroll County this afternoon to tell you about a woman accused of killing her mother and her stepfather. Well, she wants bond, and she was in court today in this double murder trial. So was Kevin Stewart. He was watching this thing unfold. Kevin, prosecutors say they have a mountain of evidence against the accused murderer.
Yeah, they said it was digital evidence, and while that didn't come into play during the bond hearing, that was announced several weeks ago when the suspect, Sarah Grace Patrick, was arrested. She's been in jail since July 8th at the Carroll County Jail. She actually has been in isolation because of her age. She's 17 years old. She's been charged with the murder of her mother, Kristen Brock, and her stepfather, James Brock. That was back in late February. But the judge, Justin Hightower, said no. And I want to take you inside the courtroom to give you a good sense of what things were looking like. The suspect smiling sometimes, other times she was crying when members of her own family were testifying against her. There were 10 total witnesses today, most arguing for the judge to grant the 17-year-old bond. One of those witnesses was a family friend who has known the suspect since she was in middle school. Another witness was the sister of James Brock, the suspect's aunt, who fought against pretrial release. Take a listen.
Has a huge heart. She is loving, protective, and deeply rooted in her faith. She has always expressed a strong, She has always expressed a strong desire to work in radiology field and has never been afraid of hard work. Hurting someone simply isn't in her nature or character.
I not only lost my brother, but also my sister-in-law, in the most horrific way imaginable. Every night I lie awake, unable to sleep, haunted by the thought of what my brother Jamie and Kristen might have experienced in those final moments.
We are very thankful that the court has recognized the seriousness of this case and made the decision to deny bond. This brings us a small amount of comfort as we continue to process the devastating loss of our loved ones.
Now, this case, we're told by the district attorney's office, actually was going to go to a grand jury today. We're waiting for word on when that result will come out. But if she is indicted, we're told the earliest this case could go to trial is in January. Tom?
Kevin, obviously emotions running high in this case. We saw the defendant there who was visibly shaken in tears. We saw the witnesses on the stand trying to get her bond in tears, went against. You know, this has been something that has had that community's attention. Authorities talked to you about this digital footprint. Did they elaborate on what kind of evidence they might have?
Well, going back to July when they announced the arrest, the big focus was, while without being specific, but I think most reporters who've been following this story had seen posts that Sarah Grace Patrick had been posting on social media and trying to drum up support in terms of trying to find out who killed her family members. And so apparently that was something that they were looking into and may have found something interesting in that led to an arrest. Since we're talking, I believe, maybe about 5 months in between the murder and the subsequent arrest.
And she's 17 years old. I'm assuming she's being tried as an adult here.
Yeah, that's right. She is being tried as an adult, as a 17-year-old. I believe the cutoff is 17. At 17, you can be tried as an adult in the state of Georgia.
All right, Kevin Stewart live for us in Carroll County. The bond hearing of a 17-year-old murder suspect underway there. Kevin, thanks. Well, we have a high-profile visitor coming to our community in the next couple of days. We're talking about Vice President J.D. Vance, who, as you know, has been front and center in these negotiations between Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, sitting at President Trump's side. He's going to be in Metro Atlanta on Thursday. He's headed to Peachtree City, south of the airport, we understand, to promote the president's so-called One Big Beautiful bill that got passed through Congress and signed into law not too long ago. Vance is also going to meet with a lot of local officials and residents to discuss the impact of this bill and the legislation on us here in Georgia. The trip is thought to be part of a broader campaign to frame this tax bill as a signature achievement benefiting everyday Americans, and the vice president obviously hitting the pavement on behalf of the president across the country, Georgia being one of those stops. Still don't know exactly where in Peachtree City he's going and what time, but as you know, anytime we have a high-profile visitor like this, it does affect traffic in the area, and this will be no exception. And so as soon as we know when the vice president is arriving, he's certain to land at Hartsfield-Jackson since he's visiting Peachtree City, and how it's going to impact traffic down on the south side of the city, we will give you a heads up on that. Want to take you to live pictures of the White House right now up in Washington, D.C., which has been the scene of some very high-stakes negotiations between European leaders and the president and the leader of NATO. This morning, the president spoke about what was yielded out of some of those negotiations, saying that there's going to be no direct U.S. troop involvement in securing Ukraine and securing the borders between Ukraine and Russia, even after the president leaves office. The president making those comments this morning. He also said that he wants Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, he wants them to meet one-on-one first before this so-called trilateral meeting between President Trump and those two leaders. He said that it would be a good idea for them to sit in a room together before the president enters the negotiations. The White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, speaking this morning in the briefing room. Not this morning, actually, just about an hour ago. We were watching the news conference before we joined you here live on the stream. Let's listen to a little bit about what Leavitt said about this one-on-one between those two leaders before this trilateral meeting.
The president has spoken to both leaders about this, and both leaders have expressed a willingness to sit down with each other. And so our national security team will help both countries do that. Ultimately, the president has always said that there are areas of disagreement in this war that will have to be discussed and decided upon by these two countries. And so he wants these two countries to engage in direct diplomacy. He's said that from the very beginning, which is why he's agreeable to the idea of having President Zelensky and President Putin get together. And I understand accommodations for that meeting are underway. As soon as we hear more details, we'll be sure to let all of you know.
And just a quick follow-up. We know as of right now there is no ceasefire in place. We've seen Russia continue its attacks on Ukraine. What indications is the president getting from Putin that he wants to have this meeting with Zelensky soon?
Because he spoke to him directly yesterday.
And he expressed that sooner rather than later.
He spoke to that directly yesterday, and the president put that in his statement that he gave to all of you, the news media, knowing you'd be asking following that conversation in the effort of transparency.
All right, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt there at the White House this morning. The president's comments coming after that high-profile meeting with European leaders and a pending one-on-one with Vladimir Putin and Zelensky. When that's going to happen, we don't know. The president just met with Vladimir Putin last Friday and laid the groundwork and sort of set the table for all of this. And, the situation is changing hour by hour, day by day as we go along. And it's one that we'll, of course, keep you posted on here as we continue to stream with you and bring you up to date on all the day's top stories. As we go to break here, we want to show you Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, which I've been watching here over on our incoming video stream, and the situation that's happening there. There is a ground stop. Last we checked, the FAA reporting a ground stop for all departures due to wind shear situation and storms surrounding that area. And you can see the rain is falling there pretty heavily. We're going to check in with meteorologist Jonathan Stacy in the Fox 5 Storm Center. He's watching live Viper and how these storms are going to continue to play out as the afternoon unfolds and how it might affect your evening commute. So thanks so much for streaming with us here on Fox Local. If you're watching us on YouTube, we appreciate that. Post your questions in there. I'm monitoring that as well. Or if you're listening on the radio, 107.9 HD2 FM, we welcome you as well. We'll be right back. Our coverage continues here live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom right after this. Welcome back to the 3 p.m. streaming hour where the news continues here on Fox 5. I'm Tom Haines, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. Just a second ago, we showed you those live pictures at our Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport and reported the ground stop for departing flights that's happening there right now. Let's check in with meteorologist Jonathan Stacy, who's in the Fox 5 Storm Center, monitoring the situation not only down at the airport, Jonathan, but storms really all around the area this afternoon.
Particularly North Georgia, Tom. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to those of you who are joining us live on this Fox local stream. It has just been kind of the turn of the page from the start of a calm morning. Thick clouds, mainly over northeast Georgia, giving way to a wedge setup, and then storms reacting to the sunshine here in the metro area. We're going to get up here to central and eastern North Georgia, but let's first start in the Atlanta metro area. Inside the perimeter here, we're going to zoom in deep and just kind of take one lobe at a time. And I will let you know, Tom, we can hear you as you're making preparations with Deidre Dukes right now. This is I-75 through Cobb County. You're dry there in Kennesaw at the moment, but Marietta getting hit hard. This is near the town center area, drifting down into Smyrna. We have a couple cells that are merging to send off some fireworks in your neck of the woods. Down near the Cobb Cloverleaf, that's where we're expecting storms to start filling in within the next couple of minutes. There's Truist Park there, Spring Road, Smyrna right there in the center. Cobb Drive now covered up in showers, along with pretty much the eastern half of Cobb County being covered up in showers. Now, when we look at the western perimeter, 285, you can see the showers have really kind of closed in from 75, 285, all the way down to 20 and 285. So these showers over in this part of town here, just to the east of downtown, near the Chattahoochee Riverworks area, as you get into the upper west side, if you will, Marietta Road, Johnson Road. Who's up next? Well, I think this is going to now start digging into the west side proper, and eventually into the Cascade area, taking you all the way out to Campbellton Road, Camp Creek Parkway, all those areas that I'm naming right here. If I zoom in just a little bit tighter, you're going to start to see those roads. This is the area that I'm looking at next for showers and storms to break out. So here is downtown. This is Metropolitan right there. Robert David Abernathy, Cascade Road, Campbellton Road, Arthur Langford Parkway, making it all the way out to 285. This is an area that's about to be heavily traveled over the next couple minutes to the next couple hours. And as kids are getting off the bus and parents are trying to pick their kids up from school, it's just about to be a kind of a cluster and a stark contrast once again from what we experienced earlier in the day. So now we go down to East Point. You're in between two cells there. So College Park and then some relief here at the airport. That's where we saw a cell really bolster up and give us some robust lightning. In fact, the temperature fell by some 15 degrees in a very short period of time at Hartsfield-Jackson. We'll continue to watch those cells in and around the airport. That ground stop may hold a little bit longer, but all of the thunder and lightning associated with that cell that passed through is now abiding over our I-85 as you get into South Fulton. So Union City, Fairburn right there, you can see once again lightning making for a mess of a commute for anybody who is traveling up or down I-85 as you get into South Fulton and then closer to the Fayette County line. So as you look at Fayetteville right now, things are dry here. Clayton County, not so much. Riverdale, you're getting a shower. But for those of you in Tyrone, get ready to get hit by some really heavy rain there. The same for Peachtree City. As we get a little bit closer to the radar site, you can see it's what we call range folding here as a result of the proximity of the cells to the radar. But this action will continue to move further down to the south and eventually, once again, Tyrone along with Fayetteville and Peachtree City in the way of some pretty aggressive storms. If we add our camera out over the Motor Speedway down there, we would see that there's some robust rain in that area as well. As you get into southwestern Henry County there, Hampton dealing with showers and then a cell that has popped up right over Griffin here. Okay, so you see isolated cells hanging out as you get to the Rockdale, Newton County line going out towards Walton County into portions of Gwinnett County as well. It looks like DeKalb is the outlier at this moment, but you're surrounded by action, so any moment, any time. But now I want to take my attention and turn up here to North Georgia, and we're talking about the mountains, getting into the foothills now. What I want to do is take this and put a stop on it and show you here just how much rain we've collected in the past 3 hours. Okay, So this is, let's just do a 12-hour. Okay, we'll do a 12-hour. And so if you look up here into Dawson County, 2.6 inches of rainfall in the past 12 hours, and we can shave off 6 hours from that because the rain didn't really start until about 3 hours ago. And so this is why we were pointing out earlier today throughout good day going into midday that we were concerned about the risk for isolated flash floods. And if we're going to find any issues in terms of flash flooding, it will be in an area like this. We're talking about that northern top of Dawson County as you get a little bit closer to the Lumpkin County line, going into parts of Union County as well. So we're going to be watching areas once again that are shaded in yellow here. Some of the deeper greens indicating 2 inches of rainfall. The same for Gilmer County, just to the south of LJ as you get over to Carter's Lake. We're going to be looking at these areas into the news at 4 and 5, even going up to Union County up there in Hiawassee, Towns County as well. We'll be looking up there just to see exactly what the roads are looking like, what the areas that are near tributaries, the waterways, the streams, the creeks are all, how they're reacting to what has been kind of a stagnant stream of storms that have had a pretty nice, not only rainfall situation, but it's been a pretty aggressive storm event in the way of lightning. You can see those lightning strikes stretch all the way up to the state line of South Carolina. And up next, we have a couple communities that I should call out here as we zoom a little bit further down. Sometimes this mouse can be a bit catawampus with us. And Tom, you can feel free to hop in here and ask some questions. I want to give people an idea of the timing here because this is sliding southward at the wrong time of day.
It sure is, because then that starts impacting traffic inside 285, and that's not a good situation.
Yeah, that's not what we want.
Just as you work there, the ground stop at the airport was supposed to be lifted at 3:15. I'm going to check to see if that's happened, but the storm's moving out of the south side of the city, or are we just going to continue to get more sliding down?
So if you work with me, Tom, here, if you can see, you can actually see the runways on Fox 5 Live After. You can see them right there.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so here's the 285 perimeter. Actually, you have a section of 285 that the runway goes over top there. So that's what you're looking at right here. So that cell is now to the south of 285. So we're not concerned about it producing any lightning. In fact, within the past 5 minutes, we've had only one strike of lightning within this camera frame. But there is likely some concern that maybe these storms down here in Union City, Fairburn, are a bit too close for comfort for them to send the crews
Jonathan,
back out.
are these the type of storms that we see in the summertime that just sit and expand and continue to grow and don't really move?
Yeah, one of the things about the summer that's quite unique is you don't have a lot of movement in the upper atmosphere. It's kind of a static atmosphere, if you would. It's kind of humid from top to bottom. So what you end up having is the steering winds, which I call rudders that you can't see above your head, and they drive the storms, and they tell the storms how fast to go and where to go. The steering winds during the summer, they are the slowest. They're not pushed along by a cold front. They're not being shoved around by a competing air mass. And so they have a mind of their own. They get out here and they're like Atlanta traffic during the afternoon hours. They don't move. They go at their own pace. And so I'm clocking these at about 15 miles an hour. So I want to point out some of the cities here. Canton, if you haven't gotten rain yet, 5 minutes away. North Forsyth High School, less than 10 minutes. Alatoona, Lake Alatoona, give it 10 minutes or so. Then into the Avery area, 17 minutes. As we work our way on down at the outlet shops as you get into Carter County, Cherokee County, about 25 minutes or less before those storms start to move over the outlets there. Then Ackworth within about 19 minutes or so, just a little bit to the north. But the areas that I'm really watching, Tom, as we go into this 4 o'clock hour will be Bartow County along with Cherokee and Cobb County. If you haven't gotten some in those areas yet, stand by because storms are moving into your area. If you're up to the north, once again to the north of the metro area with the prolonged rainfall, now the concern will start to shift towards the potential for flash flooding.
And I know it's only Tuesday, but we're always looking forward to the weekend, right? And I see on the Fox Local app that Saturday and Sunday look pretty good and not as hot. I say 83 Saturday, 86 Sunday. Are we correct there?
If you like, so basically your app is censored specifically for your neighborhood, so you don't live at the airport.
No.
So that's what our forecast is tailored here, that we show everybody out on our broadcast and our digital platforms. But on your personal Fox 5 Storm Team weather app, it is targeted to your location specifically. And so it does mirror what you're seeing, Tom, to a degree or two, that there will be a recognizable cool down, a noticeable cool down for the weekend. In fact, by Friday, I don't see us getting into the 90s after that. But it looks like the first part of the weekend will be dominated by showers and thunderstorms. We have a front that's coming to town, but it can't really get its act together. It's going to take its sweet time moving through, and so it's going to spend some time with us, likely starting Thursday through the day Friday into Saturday. Therefore, the temperatures, there won't be a great growth in those numbers, starting out in the 70s, making it to the mid 80s. And then by Sunday, most of that action should be to the south of us, and we should embrace some sunshine for the latter part of the day on Sunday. In fact, maybe the golden ticket day is maybe Sunday evening, and share that with Monday morning.
Okay.
The air mass will be reworked a bit, with temperatures starting out in the 60s. That's here in the
nice.
metro. Mountain communities,
Wow.
if I can say so. We'll have to see how the models time out, but we have a lot of things going on with the atmosphere. Today's event, Erin out there in the Atlantic, just a lot of things are happening all at once, but we are in this transitioning period.
Maybe some cooking out Sunday night, or going out and eating outside al fresco.
I'll take the invitation. I appreciate it. Thank you, Tom.
Come on over, Jonathan.
Yeah, we'll
Jonathan.
continue to track these storms throughout the afternoon, too.
All right, we'll check back in with you, Jonathan. Thanks. Something that is going to come as welcome news to a lot of people is the prospect of not paying state income tax. It's something that lawmakers have been talking about in our state for a long time. They don't pay income tax down in Florida, our neighbors to the south. There was a hearing today initiated by one of the gubernatorial candidates at the state capitol. Fox 5 Deidre Dukes is there on the rainy lawn out in front. Deidre, what was this hearing all about, and what are the actual chances of not paying state income tax here in Georgia?
Well, as you said, Republican gubernatorial candidate Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones actually formed this committee some weeks ago. It held its first hearing today. Majority Republicans, along with Democrats, appointed to that committee. They've been given the task of trying to come up with a blueprint that would allow Georgia to eliminate its state income tax. Now, right now, 9 states across the country do not have a state income tax, and GOP lawmakers who are pushing for this say that it's important for Georgia to take this step if Georgia wants to remain competitive, the #1 place in the country to do business, and also saying it will provide economic relief to Georgia residents. Now, we talked to the chairman of this committee, Republican Senator Blake Tillery, and here's what he had to say.
As you know, we've seen our neighboring states already eliminate their income tax. Florida and Tennessee have 0. North Carolina and South Carolina are rapidly approaching that. We view ourselves as the Empire State of the South. Then we've got some work we need to do too. Yeah. But it's about more than just competitiveness. You got Georgia families who are feeling the pinch at the pump. They're feeling the pinch on groceries. If they're a working family, childcare.
Now, we also spoke to some Democratic lawmakers who are on this committee, and they question how we can accomplish this goal, how lawmakers can do so, cut taxes and still meet constituents' needs when they say, several questions I had, but one of the questions is, how can they accomplish this goal when federal budget cuts are looming and we still don't know how that's going to impact the state of Georgia?
Make sure we got everything anchored in place to make sure we can take care of our obligation to the citizens of the state of Georgia before we go down that road. Responsible people would say, well, how are we going to pay our bills? What are we going to do to make sure that we can send kids to decent schools, have decent roads to travel on, and military and that kind of thing? So I would think we would do that before we go down that road.
And the committee has set a December deadline to come up with a working plan in order to present some form of a solid plan to state lawmakers next legislative session at the state capitol. Back to you, Tom.
Deidre, I have so many questions, but you're getting soaked, so I'm going to let you get back inside to dry off. Thanks for the afternoon's new information. I mean, when you think about it, folks, we have a huge convention business here in our state. We have huge rental car taxes to impose on tourists, just like Florida does. If you think about the traffic coming in and out of the airport, we have so many professional athletic teams which bring in so much revenue. The World Cup is coming to our state. All of these things translate to tax revenue. The same as in Florida, where that state passes on the burden of taxes to tourists who flood that state year after year, going to Disney World, Miami, the Southwest Coast, and they have visitors taxes, and so Florida residents don't have to pay state income tax. And it sounds like state lawmakers are working toward a solution where we might impose some of the tax burden on folks that visit here in our state, which would be welcome relief to taxpayers here in the state of Georgia. The governor has been trying to be fair in the past by passing along any kind of surplus that the state has back to taxpayers. I don't know if you got that deposit in your bank account not too long ago. That was a surplus passed on by the governor. So they're trying to work it out, and we'll see if that happens and if it is an effective campaign tool for those folks who are running for governor. As we go to break here, I want to take you to Truist Park up in Cobb County to show you the rain falling up there. It seems like rain is falling nearly everywhere in the northern part of the state. Shut down the airport for quite some time, and the same could be set up in Cobb County. So there's Hartsfield Jackson monitoring the situation there. When we come back, somebody just announced that he's running for mayor of Atlanta, and you're going to know this person pretty well. We'll tell you about that. And a new section of the Beltline that's opening, and a brewery that's trying to help kick that effort off when we come back. Stay with us. A handful of candidates have announced that they're going to run for mayor of Atlanta. One of them this morning, and that is a man you know, Mayor Andre Dickens. He spoke to the press this morning to discuss his priority for what will be a second term if he is reelected, key achievements of his current tenure. We're going to talk to Chris Rosenthal in just a second out at the Beltline, where the mayor is going to make an appearance. But first, I want to go to Fox 5's Angelique Proctor. Dry and inside, which is a good thing, Angelique. You were there this morning with the mayor. Tell us about this launch for a second term.
Well, the 61st mayor of the city of Atlanta was very excited today as he announced that he is running for re-election. He actually officially filed all of the paperwork for this re-election campaign, and he told us that he is living out a dream when he was just 16 years old to be mayor of Atlanta. And it is a dream that has come to fruition. And he had his mother with him, as well as his sister, and a whole lot of supporters around him as he announced that he's ready to be reelected and do this one more time. He says this group project is definitely working. Now, one of the things that the mayor says he has a laundry list of accomplishments. So many things are going great. Why wouldn't he run again? He says he's already built 11,000 affordable housing units. He has reduced crime significantly. He has expanded green space and parks around our city. He is addressing income inequities. He says the great thing about all of this is as he has moved Atlanta forward, several publications around the country have taken notice.
All eyes are on the city of Atlanta. We've made sure that people took notice. Over the past 3 years, Money Magazine said Atlanta is the best place in the country to live. Bloomberg said Atlanta has more going for us than any other city in America. Black Enterprise, Home Bay, and LinkedIn all said we are the best place in the country to start a business. Wallet Hub and others said that we're the best place to start a career. Forbes even said that we are the most educated city in America. And we still run the world's busiest and most efficient airport.
Another thing that the mayor touted is that he opened the public safety training facility earlier this year. That was a bit controversial, but he sees it as another feather in his cap. He says he's working on our aging infrastructure. We all remember the water main breaks that we dealt with. He says that he is working on all of that. And he says the city will be ready when the world comes next year for FIFA World Cup. So as he sees it, all the boxes are checked. All of the supporters around him kept yelling, 4 more years, 4 more years. The mayor had a huge smile on his face. And he says, though, the one area that he thinks we do need some more work is transportation. But he is looking squarely at MARTA for improvements there.
We need MARTA to be better. MARTA is an authority that is controlled by Fulton County, DeKalb County, Clayton County, and the city of Atlanta. We are headed in the right direction, getting new leadership on the way for MARTA. We need a world-class leader for this system to operate like a world-class system. People got to get to where they're going. They got to get to work, they got to get to school, they got to get to doctor's appointments, they got to get to entertainment venues. And what's happening is there's a reliability challenge that MARTA doesn't always meet the time and expectations of the rider in terms of safety, et cetera. So I'm going to be extremely bold and pushy as it comes to MARTA needing to step up to the plate.
So the mayor says he is going to be pushy. Now, the mayor says he's Atlanta through and through, that he's a native Atlantan. He is a product of the Atlanta public school system. We all know that he is a graduate of Georgia Tech. And he says that what he had when he came into office was a huge challenge because we were on the heels of the pandemic. He had to get all of the city employees back into this building. He said he did that successfully. He also says that he was able to stop a move by some people who wanted to succeed from Atlanta and create their own city of Buckhead. He was able to navigate through all of these challenges. So he believes these are all his arguments for why he certainly deserves a second term, 4 more years for Mayor Andre Dickens. And we will be watching this over the next 3 months. I know it's going to be extremely busy to see what happens.
Well, let's be honest, Angelique. It's very hard in our city to beat an incumbent mayor. You did talk about a lot of the successes under his administration. There are several people who are going to challenge Andre Dickens. I don't take it, and maybe you know and I don't, that we've seen really any polling numbers come out to see how all of these candidates stack up.
No polling yet. A lot of these candidates are not as well known as the mayor. I think you've got a list of them coming up, but none of them rise to the recognizability and the name recognition that Mayor Andre Dickens has. Like you said, the incumbency is going to be a huge plus for him this time around.
And something, and maybe you can echo this because you're out on the street and following these politicians, the relationship between the mayor and the governor is super important. And I believe, given what I've seen in in things like news conferences and their cooperation on a city and state level that Dickens and Kemp get along pretty well.
They absolutely do, and that is critical. He talked about that today, Tom, saying that a lot of the federal dollars that he was able to get under the Biden administration are no longer flowing to Atlanta. But he is looking across the street at the state capitol and the governor to get those funds. He's trying to work with Rob Pitts and the county to get funds, and he's looking within the city to see how that a lot of these programs can continue despite federal funding drying up.
All right, Fox 5's Angelique Proctor. We know you'll be front and center in the race for Atlanta mayor with the current mayor, Andre Dickens' announcement this morning. Angelique, thanks. Something that Andre Dickens has been front and center in is the expansion of the Atlanta Beltline. This in advance, as Angelique mentioned, of the World Cup. Safety and security have been top of mind to make people feel safe to use the Beltline. And to come to our city and experience that. Chris Rosenthal is at an event today on a very rainy part of the Beltline. Chris, you're expecting the mayor to speak. You're also following the opening or the expansion, we understand, of a big brewery, which a lot of people frequent there.
Yeah, absolutely, Tom. You know, the mayor, I believe he just showed up, but as you can tell, it's raining pretty hard out here. We were going to do do some interviews and a press conference out front, but a little wet, a little rainy for that, so they've moved things inside. But yeah, I think the mayor, see his vehicle there, just showed up. I'm at the Monday Night Brewery over here on the west side. This is their second location, and what makes this significant is it's right off the new Beltline northwest side trail. It will connect Howell Mill with the North Side Drive, and eventually, you know, they're adding segments going along. Eventually, it'll go all the way up towards Buckhead. Eventually, around the entire city. But this is, you know, sort of a partnership between businesses and the Beltline. It's a relationship they have. I spoke with Joel Iverson from Monday Night Brewing, and he talks about the importance of that relationship. Here's what he had to say.
I'm incredibly excited to partner with the city on this project and partner with the Beltline to bring kind of accessibility and connection to this part of town where there hasn't been that connection before.
Talk to me about how this helps your business and you help the Beltline.
Yeah, that's a great question. It really is. It's a symbiotic relationship between the businesses and the Beltline. The Beltline, they actually came to us originally and said, hey, you guys keep showing up on these maps as a place where people in this part of town already like to go. And for us, we're like, well, that's great, because we would love the Beltline to come right here next to our business. And it really is. It's a win-win because consumers have a destination, a place to go when they're on the trail. And the city ends up with people using this trail, this beautiful asset that they're making for our city. So, you know, a trail is great, but people also need places to go visit and the amenities. And so that's where I think it's this great partnership between business and the Beltline and the city.
Yeah, partnership indeed. We've seen other parts of the city where the Beltline's really brought businesses in, and you know, it's a great way for people to walk between businesses and really helps out the economy there.
Chris, first of all, it's such an interesting initiative, and we're all happy to see when the Beltline grows and expands and businesses open up and places like that Monday Night Brewery expand operations there. I want to know exactly where you're standing geographically, and I want you to do a bit of a weather report because we hear thunder and lightning clapping right behind you, which I assume you're safe there under shelter, but give us a little bit about the conditions where you are.
I'll step back behind the camera and pan around a little bit here because yeah, it's pretty strong out here. Yeah, I'm over here on the northwest side of town, Traybird Avenue. It's near Howell Mill. You can see it's pretty hard to even focus a shot how wet it is out here. But yeah, it's coming down real hard. We've seen lightning, we've seen some thunder, or heard thunder. And definitely some big big puddling over here in the parking lot, so not looking forward to getting my feet kind of wet when I get back out there, but it's coming down pretty hard. So I think
maybe go in and grab a beer from Monday Night Brewery.
Yeah. Let me go in and get a little shelter here. I think the event's actually starting up. So
okay, real quick before I let you go, the mayor just talking about that expansion and the opening of this business, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, Chris Rosenthal. Live in a rainy northwest part of the city out near Howell Mill Road on the Beltline expansion, talking about the businesses that are going to be operating there. Monday Night Brewery, if you want to go grab a brew on that part of the Beltline, it is now up and running. So good to see that. We've been talking about the weather this whole hour. If you've been streaming with us here on Fox Local or watching on our YouTube channel or listening on 107.9 HD2 FM, this is the scene out at Truist Park up in Cobb County, sort of north and a little bit east from where Chris Rosenthal is, and you can barely see the park in the blinding rain there. It's really coming down in parts of Cobb County. And of course, Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, going to check to see about operations there, but when we opened with you at 3 p.m. off the top of the hour here, we knew that departures were grounded, and that's certainly caused flight delays not only here in our neck of the woods, but certainly whatever happens at Hartsfield then happens across the country. So definitely a weather delay happening there. As we look at downtown Atlanta, the situation there looks a little bit better anyway. We're going to talk to Alex Forbes, meteorologist Alex Forbes, who will join us to talk about our weather currently and what's ahead in the coming days. People always think it's like, oh, this is the hottest summer we've had in as long as I can remember. Well, is that the case? Alex is going to clear things up for us when we come back right out of the break. Back now live. Thanks so much for streaming with us here on Fox Local, watching on our YouTube channel at Fox 5 Atlanta, and listening to us on the radio. We're all over the place, 107.9 HD2 FM, and we're always on here on Fox Local. The news never stops. Want to take you up to Swanee, where Fox 5 Storm Team meteorologist Alex Forbes is standing. Wow, that's a nice shot. Some beautiful fountains behind you. And look at that, no rain where you are right now. All of our reporters this hour have been getting soaked, except for you, Alex.
That's what happens when you let the meteorologist pick the spot, right? I picked the spot with no rain, although I told you here just a couple minutes ago, we've had about, up to now, about 7.5 raindrops. I told you about 3.5. Now we're up to about 7.5. I'm pretty sure we've got some showers developing overhead here in Gwinnett, and everything this afternoon is pushing down to the south. So that means as these develop, they're going to be pushing further south into Gwinnett, southern Gwinnett County, Peachtree Corners over towards Lilburn, and then eventually into DeKalb and into the metro area. And last I checked, we're getting into rush hour. So you're already seeing showers and storms down there in the perimeter, but I think we have some more developing up here in Gwinnett, and those are pushing down to the south. I also want to show you a live look at Hartsfield-Jackson. I just checked the FAA site. We are in a ground stop officially at Hartsfield-Jackson for flights coming from, think of a bubble around Atlanta that extends out to Houston, Memphis, and then up towards, say, the Cleveland area and New York and points south. Anywhere in that bubble, there are no flights taking off to Atlanta right now. That's what a ground stop means. That doesn't necessarily mean they're holding everything at the airport. It means things that are headed to the airport are being held right now. But Tom, I tell you what, these types of days, whenever you get these pop-up showers and storms, that's when it can help out some of this heat. It doesn't feel as hot here in Suwanee as it did as recently, say, 30 to 45 minutes ago, and that's really been the story this summer. I want to show you our 90-degree afternoons here in Atlanta. We average about 100 of them, and this year we've only seen shy of 50, 48 officially at Hartsfield-Jackson. So believe it or not, we have not come close to the average at all. And if you're wondering when all of this heat comes to an end in a typical summer, our average last 90-degree day is September 9th. Now, as we look between now and September 9th, right, 2-3 weeks away, I can at least see into next week. And as we look into next week and look across the eastern United States, the Climate Prediction Center has their outlook out, and it's got a big blue bowling ball situated over really areas north of Atlanta. But we're clipped by it, and Tom, when we're clipped by that, that means by the time we get towards the middle to end of next week, we're going to be looking at highs more mid to low 80s instead of the low 90s.
I always annoy Chief Meteorologist David Chanley when I say, you know, on those 100 or 90-degree days that this is the hottest it's been in as long as I can remember. But, you know,
right,
for those of us who don't follow meteorological trends, that's not always the case, right?
Right, and this summer, I think when you look at it as a whole, when we look at meteorological summer, which runs from June 1st all the way to the end of August, so coming up here in just a couple of weeks, this summer is actually going to go down as a relatively cool summer for Metro Atlanta. Our temperatures did not get as warm as they could through the afternoons. We've only seen one 100-degree day so far this year, or maybe two. It's one or two. And, you know, in the grand scheme of things, when it's kept at bay, then you're not going to get the hottest summers that we talk about. And of course, growing up here in the Atlanta area, I remember 2012 vividly. That was one of the warmest years on record. And this summer, it's not comparing. It's warm, but it's not comparing to the hottest on record.
Well, I want to put up Fox 5 Live Viper one more time, because the big story of this hour, for those who are watching us here in our viewing area at least, is the weather. And I know you can't see Live Viper, but I know you, being Alex Forbes, have certainly checked it within the past, 5-10 minutes, and it's full of rain. Tell us about, you said that these showers and there are a lot of them, moving from north to south, correct?
Right, so I'm looking at it here on my phone. You've got that cluster over downtown, which is not really moving. That's not great news for the evening commute. But you look up towards Cherokee County, Forsyth County, and then towards northern Hall County, that piece of energy is building down to the south. So I was just talking with Michael, my photographer, and I think we are going to migrate here for Fox 5 News at 4. We're going to be under that pavilion back there, because I'm looking at what's going on. Actually, as I zoom in right on top of us, I'm looking at what's developing over us, and not loving the look of it. Looks like we've got a pretty good shower just south of McGinnis Ferry, right there along the Chattahoochee River, right where Johns Creek runs into Suwanee. At any rate, all of that is developing here on the north side of the Metro, Tom, and that is going to continue to push down inside the perimeter for the evening commute. So if you are in Atlanta and you are headed really north into Cobb, North Fulton, Cherokee, Forsyth, or even up here into Gwinnett, I would expect a wet ride home.
All right, a rainy Tuesday afternoon in our city. Alex, thanks for that. Continue to stay with us here. The news never stops on Fox Local, because at the top of the hour, we're going to get the latest, not only on the forecast, but on the day's top stories. Meteorologist Jonathan Stacy will talk to us about the rain which direction it's headed, and we'll continue to monitor operations at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, where, as you can see, not much is happening thanks to that big ground stop there at the airport, something we've been covering really here on Fox Local since the top hour when we joined you here live. That is it for me. I'm Tom Haines. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. The news continues here next at 4.